But it is as well a program how really almost didn't get done. Comic and author John Finnemore was learning and sometimes written for thumbnail shows while he got his airman cockpit blood pressure scenario to sitcom manufacturer David Tyler. I once had a splanknick sense of strike, remembers Tyler, 10-year on. I mind the is ultimate. But it wasn't a versatile response. Mark Damazer, wireless force control unit at the period, didn't love the scenario. I was rather undertaken ago since he fair didn't get he. Raphael says. I fair went on and on hard to persuade him but implemented I wasn't winner him circle. A frustrated Tyler was on to undergo on the aversion to Finnemore, but solved to go behind to the wireless bosses one recent period. I told, I aware sitcom is personal and we're all juggle in air but he, Damazer is incorrect. Raphael was as frustrated in the judgment so tested, one day once again, to beg cockpit blood pressure's instance. We don't he include lot sitcoms in such a nicely certain letter. Happy, can we do he, she told. The combination attitude treated. About, go on later, replied Damazer. Tyler says cockpit blood pressure is on increasing upwards. For Finnemore, the situation comedy is on outgoing household. At its easiest the situation comedy concerns the adventures of two flying, a attendant and the CEO of MJN Air, a diminutive Carta airline company in Fair One aircraft, called Gertie, nearly a nature in herself. As the proprietor puts it, MJN isn't an airline company so lot as but an air. I don't he include an airline company. I include one reactive. You cannot put one jet in a link. MJN's lug is the scary Carolyn Knapshappy, decorated a occupant aircraft in her divorce rate, and established to do it job as a industry. One of the few times Carolyn's menacing front cracked was while else nature requested why, taking into account how hard to run an airline company was take her to the end of bankrupt, she persevered. Since I am the head execution official of MJN Airborne, she told. He's a nice item to be. He's superior rather than, a slight old dame. Help her in the strive is her son Arthur Shappy, played by Finnemore oneself as a sequentially cheerful attendant who claims to include found the open secret to real joy, to nobody concerned, it is throw and poem of one brush to the sum. The flying are adorable, skilled, ever-scheming Douglas Richardson, played by Roger Allam, and Martin Creef, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, who requested to fly with the age of 6, but never seemed really nice at it. Lot to Douglas, depressed, annoyance and everyone else's surprise party, it is Martin who, for reasons show for the episode, captains the aircraft, time Douglas is his younger. The difference in the airmen's abilities and their official position forms one of the center tensions in the situation comedy. The sum is the industry's unreliable finance stance, epitomized in Carolyn's encouraging proclamation, presents the day we try fleeing MJN as a advantageous industry, quite rather than a charity nature reserved for nonsense flying. Nicholas Lezard of the Freelance named the at first scene impeccable, and Nasheen Iqbal of the Trustee praised the Shah's spectacular throw description the scenario as packed tightly in magnificent channel. Awards accompanied. In 2011, 2013 and 2014 the episode won S Top UK Wireless Situation Comedy Confer, as well proper the at first wireless program to win the website's Sitcom of the Year Confer in 2014. Finnemore oneself has won 2 Writers Guild Awards, consisting one for Cockpit Blood Pressure. Finnemore is an emergency author, says manufacturer Tyler. He is one day in a general. He writes on true feeling and is capable to do so lot various letter. Which I discover remarkable on his job is the mental coherence. Raphael agrees. John has the capacity to go profound in the nature and ask which is the item how man wants more than rather than whatever, she says. Pondering the author's power to get so carefully within the minds of other, she cited David Tyler, Finnemore's a genie but you wouldn't wish to dwell in his chief. Tyler says one of the main subjects of the Shah is how the two flying are really smart, very learned human beings who are miserable for largest of the period. So they manure on, he added. The couple's diversions include turned-on game atop hazard play of conceal the lemon juice, calling the Bryans of Britain, Eno, Blissful, May etc., and theft a bottling of Talisker whiskey of a occupant on his way to a rugby football matchstick. The quality assurance of the scenario, advantage the family member easy of wireless, no do-up and no training channel, intended cockpit blood pressure was capable to draw in spectacular throw. Cauliflower, wait for deity, outdoor all several hours, crowning road and alum, this heavy of it, strive, were already completed and skilled TV and movie actors. And while the episode began, Cumberbatch, as the unfortunate and unsafe Martin, was on the peak of stardom. Maybe the cast of a next world movie celebrity was one of the factors how helping build the situation comedy's loyalist woman fan basis, a tendency how the show's creative professionals began to note among the other and tertiary episode. Following Sherlock, the applications for workshop auditorium tickets came substantially of female by the age of 25, says Finnemore. And such who treated on cockpit blood pressure recall fans collected external the workshop at 7 o'clock on common cold, foggy mornings, not a regular incident for a wireless situation comedy. But time the present of the Sherlock artist may driven listeners in, lot say they ended up fond the situation comedy on its own being. I normally say how largest human beings came to cockpit blood pressure since of Benedict Cumberbatch. But they stayed since of John Finnemore, says Kiel Pereira, a fan of Belgian. Time the present of Cumberbatch may explanation several of cockpit blood pressure's youthful next, the nature he play may include chimed in them too much. The situation comedies at first seen displayed in 2008, soon following the finance collapse, and time lot millennials introduced maturity and found a severe economical environment. Though Martin was in his 30s, he floored lot of their problems. For such 20-somethings, fighting to cut out a lifetime and career for themselves, his distress may include affected a known accord. To foundation Martin's chase of the ultimate career he had to do odd jobs and dwell in a terrible loft in a share building. He knew which his vision job was, but in procedure to get a leg in the doorway he had to job for complimentary. Substantially he was interning as a airman. Kylie saw Finnemore execute a thumbnail at a sitcom overnight, in that he play a comic concerned on not possessing reached quite in his lifetime. I mind it would be pleasant if human beings of all above the planet could show their gratitude by take a image of a lemon juice and joining a communication for John, she says. Kylie acquired so lot photos, consisting one undertaken close the boundary of polar Korea, how in the assist of other, she rotated them in a volume and introduced it to Finnemore at a cockpit blood pressure record. In spite the program's popular, Finnemore says he didn't wish to whip it to die or, in December 2014, following 4-person's episode and a Yuletide specific he driven it to in late. Finnemore has lost on to future successful in his thumbnail show and part-time wireless dramas, John Finnemore's dual acts. Above the summer he will be written a movie in Armando Iannucci. Yet the program how done his behalf is yet delighted and famous. On fan sites and public print, devotees go on to stake pictures of Lie Lemons, organize fin meets, exchanging favorite quotes and contemplate the practicability of store otters in a aircraft's elevated chamber. I've speak to fans who afflict of depressive, says Kylie Fitzgerald, and cockpit blood pressure is thing how, though for just part and time, can do them smiling. How's a beautiful item to make.